Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Superstars of Wrestling review series for the 3rd of June 2019 and 95. Wish 2005 actually had actual wrestling that mattered like that. Anyway, Vince McMahon, Doc Hendricks are out there. Got over 2,700 of these, by the way. If you are new around here, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. Anyway, Lex Luger and Davey Boy Smith, the Allied Powers. Literally about 3 months or so before Luger leaves the promotion for the final time to go off to WCW and finishing out his career there before going to TNA for a little bit. A couple of short runs there. Anyway, enhancement match, as it were, Luger and Davey Boy Smith. And again, this is back when Superstars was still a reasonably considered decent enough syndication program. And, super basic match. This is obviously Mike Bell and Gus Cantankerous. Cantankerous submits to the torture rack and very basic stuff. Lots of new talent in the area at the time. The bigger, stronger deal documentary, Mike Bell is part of that. So if you've ever seen that bodybuilding documentary, this is one of the people involved with that. Luger and Davey Boy Smith again just started teaming up not too long before this, a few months anyway. Davey Boy hits the hanging suplex, among other things. Luger finally gets the victory with the torture rack, as it were, and then we see Jerry Lawler talking about the preponderance of his feet and the fact that, in fact, he hadn't washed them for a couple of weeks ahead of the King of the Ring match with Bret Hart, the Kiss My Foot match, which at the time a pretty big deal there, and they're kind of making a big deal out of that. Bret Hart basically saying he doesn't care, he's going to get his hands on Lawler. The Hart and Lawler feud by this point going on and off for 2 years. Skip and Sonny, aka Tammy Sitch and Chris Candido, facing off against Scott Taylor, who eventually becomes Scotty 2 Hotty. So this is the WWF debut of Skip. The idea that he doesn't even last 2 full years in the promotion is kind of interesting to me at the time. Frankensteiner by Skip, among other things, and Skip manages to toss his guy out of the ring, and a super basic run here. Again, some basic punches, kicks, and a dive over the top rope by Skip, and a top rope Huracan Rana, aka Frankensteiner, is to be had here, and ultimately gets up and over. Todd Pettengill gives us the rundown of the King of the Ring. Probably the worst King of the Ring ever, with the Mabel win here in this particular run. The Roadie, a.k.a. Jesse James, a.k.a. Brian Armstrong, is up next. And obviously the Roadie is a major force here. And they're kind of hyping that run. But that's the major thing there. Jeff Jarrett is roundabouts, and Doink is the main opponent of the moment. Doink, of course, Ray Apollo at this point in 1995. Dink's still around. Did not realize that the Dink character stayed around that long, but again, very basic maneuvers, and the Roadie doing a lot of punch kick type stuff. Again, Brian Armstrong at this point really able to get some good runs, although gone by July of 95, so not really here all that long. And again, kind of being led up by Jeff Jarrett, kind of gets hooked around, and Dink on the outside, causing moderate distractions, side headlocks, other basic maneuvers along the way, and certainly not a lot to run about here. And ultimately, Um, Rhodey does get a victory here, and um, it is what it is as far as things are concerned. Ultimately, there is a good win there. Uh, Waylon Mercy is doing "What About Me?" You know what I mean kind of promo. Waylon Mercy, of course, Dan Spivey in a gimmick that I think could have worked had his knees not been blown at the time. Bob Holly in a enhancement match up here next, and drops the knee a couple of times across the opponent here. And by the way, the Rhodey match was the King of the Ring qualifier. Ray Roy is the opponent for none other than Bob Holly here. Holly does go to the top rope, hitting a top rope knee drop, among other things, crossbody, and Bob Holly still doing the race car gimmick here. Mainly doing television. I think he does a few house shows, but nothing, um, uh, nothing there. And in terms of a major challenge to the match, Ray Roy, of course, a enhancement talent here, and super basic thing along the way there. Then we go to, um, Bob Holly getting the victory, and highlights of the Fabulous Moolah, who's inducted into the Hall of Fame, an induction that years later, because of her supposed mistreatment of the women and all of that. I think certainly many have spoken out about that. We'll go into the concept here, but many have called for her to be removed from the Hall of Fame. Then we see Bertha Faye and Harvey Whippleman talking about their love for each other, and Harvey and Bertha very in line with each other. Diesel cutting a promo on his injuries and the nature thereof. Then we go to Rad Radford, aka Louis Spicolli, against the nature of Bert Santino. Bert Santino, a New England enhancement talent at the time, who kind of is going around for Radford. Radford, I don't think has, or actually couldn't have by now, aligned with Skip and Sonny, because Skip and Sonny debuted earlier this week. But that alliance eventually does occur. Couple of hard shots and leg drops, suplexes, and the like by Louis Spicolli, aka Rad Radford, and he cuts his man off. Bob Backlund, post match, complains about the nature of things after a spinebuster win by Spicolli, and then The Undertaker out next in an enhancement match with Tony DeVito. Very basic punch kick, jumping clothesline, and the tombstone for The Undertaker. Undertaker, of course, still a major force and would be for years upon years to come. Hype for the main event at the King of the Ring. Diesel saying he's going to be back, even though his elbow had been surgically repaired, in time for the Bam Bam Bigelow and Tatanka, or Bam Bam Bigelow and Diesel versus Tatanka and Sid tag team match. Can't believe that was the main event of a pay-per-view, but it was back in 1995. We'll be back with more right after this.